What's going on, Pokemon Go trainers? Welcome to episode 13 of the Lured Up Creator Series, the podcast bringing your favorite content creators to talk about their work, process, and the game that brings it all together, Pokemon Go. Lured Up is part of the Pokemon Professor Network, and today is Saturday, August 29th, 2020. I'm your host, Ken Pescatore, and this week I'm excited to be joined by Joe Landor. Joe, what's happening, man? How are you?
What's going on, Ken? Great to be here.
Awesome, dude. I'm excited. You were requested by the community. They said you have to have Joe on. I said I will reach out, and within short order, we got this on the book. So I'm excited that our timelines worked out. This is great, man.
It's fantastic.
So why don't you take a moment to just introduce yourself, let us know where you're from, tell us a little bit about your brand. We'll kind of dig into some basics, and then we'll start talking about some content.
All right. Well, my name is Joe Landor. I often go by LandorAlpha on many online platforms. I'm from a little city in upstate New York called Troy. It's a pretty old city around from the Revolutionary War era. So it's a lot of history in my era, and it's a great place. But enough about that. What I love to do is I love to hang out with the community, specifically the Pokemon community. I love playing the games, Pokemon Go, Sword and Shield, lots of things within the franchise itself. It goes way back with me, and I'm all about getting to know people in the online community regarding Pokemon. I don't care from what walk of life people have come from, what their background is. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is if they're ready to have a good time and just be chill, relax, and just ready to have a great conversation. No matter what's going on, no matter what the activity is, I'm here for the people, man. I'm all about helping people whenever I can if it's within my power, and that's what I'm about. I'm about the community. I'm about the people.
We'll definitely get into it, talking about the different areas of Pokemon and the different platforms. But you said that Pokemon's been part of your life for a while. How did it kind of start? Have you been playing for a long time, the main series, or was kind of Go something you picked up, or like what's your relationship with the franchise itself?
Well, we're going to take a trip to an era I like to call the 90s. I go back that far with Pokemon. I know, really, really far back, right? I started, it's like a mixture of things. I don't remember which came first, but I can tell you that I was into the TV series, I was into the trading card game, and I was into the games. My first Pokemon game I remember playing was Pokemon Blue, and I remember beating the game. I remember a friend putting a cheat into the game, giving me unlimited Master Balls.
No!
A little questionable. Good thing I beat the game at that point. I'm pretty
Game
sure.
Shark or something.
I know. Yeah, he definitely Game Sharked me. I didn't know what he was doing at the time. I was like, hey, this is so awesome. I could just catch anything I want now. And so I remember at least playing through that game. I remember it being like the coolest thing ever. I had never played a game like that at that point, and that was just me running around with my Glacier Blue Game Boy Pocket that I had gotten for Christmas at one point.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a good time back then. The TV show, I did watch it for a while, and same with the trading card game. I played with the cards, I traded with friends for a while, but my background when it comes to my family, I come from let's just call it a conservative religious background, and at one point Pokemon was seen as like the devil or something, and then that
yes it was.
Yeah.
It was like the Dungeons and Dragons of the late 90s.
It was
like,
crazy.
You heathen, you collecting cards, little monsters. It's like, yes, that was huge in our area too. I mean, I think everyone kind of went through that.
Yeah, so unfortunately I had just about everything just yanked from me, so I went on a forced hiatus, if you want to call it that, for a while until I got myself back into the franchise with Pokemon X and Y. I know, it's quite a big gap there. But I got into X and Y, then I went and played Oris. Went back to that when that came out. I know that was a remake of Ruby and Sapphire. And then I got into Sun and Moon. So mainly I just got back into the main series games. The cards didn't come until a little bit later, probably more. Actually, let me just move into this next era. Pokemon Go. I got started with Pokemon Go like in 2016, and that kind of led me into getting back into the cards, and which I'm more of a collector now than I am a player of any sort. But so I had a nice hiatus. I don't know exactly how many years it was in between, but it was quite a long time. But I'm back, baby. That's what matters.
That's now let's talk about that first time you played Pokemon Go. So you said it was 2016. Was that kind of like this come to Arceus moment. Like, I know a lot of people are in that boat where they've always loved the franchise. They might have been into it in the late 90s or when they were younger. They took some time off. Pokemon Go comes out, and then all of a sudden it's like you do a cannonball back into the Pokemon universe. Was that kind of what happened? Because, I mean, that's sort of what happened with me. Like, I mean, I did the same thing. I was like, Gens 1 through 4, hardcore. I loved, the Pokemon franchise, but I didn't really play much in Gen 5. And then, X and Y came out, and I'm back into it strong, the TCG, all that stuff. And when Pokemon Go came out, forget it. It was just like, all right, I've found my path. My trajectory is set. Was that kind of what it was like for you when Pokemon Go came out? Did that kind of reinforce all these other areas of your Pokemon fandom?
That's pretty much spot on what you just said there. It certainly was a springboard into the deep end, no less. So right back into the franchise, because before that it was more like playing around in the splash pad, so to speak, and then finally got to jump into the deep end with the big kids, and got it back into the franchise. Was running around like the rest of them, trying to get whatever was around that time. Mostly Pidgey. We all know about that. It was
hell yeah, yo, give me those 12 candy evolutions, bro.
Exactly.
It's like that was like my life. At that point, it was like, give me the fucking Weedle, the Pidgey, and the Caterpie, and I'm doing evolution parties every night. That was the greatest back in the day, man. That was like back in the day, fucking 4 years ago. That was awesome though. Like when the game first came out, that whole grind. But yeah, like many people, when Go came out, it was just kind of this. This mad dash back to the franchise, which was so freaking cool, not only for the Pokemon company, but just for, the community at large. And we'll definitely get into it. And you've already touched on it, the fact that, you are very community focused. And when it comes to streaming and all that stuff, I've seen the stuff you do with the community and the interaction, and it's freaking awesome. So we'll definitely get there. But let's talk about the first piece of Pokemon content you ever made. What was that? When was that? And what was it like?
Okay, so the furthest back I can really trace, the oldest thing I've made, at least that exists right now, is probably it's related to Articuno Raid Day in Pokemon Go. That goes back to 2018, I believe. I don't remember exactly what month that was. May have been in the summer, maybe August of 2018, when the legendary birds were out in raids for everyone. That vlog still exists up on YouTube. I was actually looking earlier because I had a feeling this question would come, like, oh man, I have to go see what was the oldest thing I did. And that indeed is what I went and looked back and found. And I remember that day. I didn't end up getting a shiny that day, but I just had a blast walking around with like-minded people. Everyone was so excited with their phones out, just to catch a legendary bird from Gen 1, and it was like an electrifying atmosphere. Everyone was into it. Everyone was trying to get friend codes and be able to get into raids with one another. It was great. It was unlike any other experience I could have ever felt. It was truly Pokemon Go has done something where it's just united people from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, with one game, with one singular unifying device, if you want to call it that has just transcended beyond just about any barrier I can think of.
Yeah, that sounds so accurate to kind of my scope of the whole situation. And I was just I get into these like late night, very smoky room conversations with friends about Pokemon. And it's like, I called it the other day. I said Pokemon Go was like the cultural glue of all these different areas of people that, we go out raiding, and there's like, the doctor and the lawyer and, the person from the church and the dude working at the restaurant and some old couple and then some young kids. It's like, it was the glue that brought all those different cultures together to kind of, share this experience. And yeah, man, it's fucking spot on. I mean, it's like that's what makes this community so awesome and so robust, is the fact that it's made up of such a diverse crowd, not only with age, but like just cultural habits and behaviors in general. So I love that freaking dynamic. That's so cool. Go definitely was that for me as well. It really brought my local community just together and closer than ever. And I've been doing TCG events, for years, and the back-breaking work to get people together to do TCG stuff. And it was like Pokemon Go came out and there's 80 people out raiding at the park. It's like, what the hell? This is amazing. It's like, this is so great. It's like, do 4 of you want to play TCG this weekend? It's like, it's still a challenge. But when you first started making content, so back then, 2018, the Legendary Birds video, that era, what were your goals as a creator, and how has that kind of changed over the, the last 2 years?
My goal as a creator back then, one, I was still trying to find my place in the whole creative space. I didn't really know anyone at that time in any kind of way doing what I was doing in my area or abroad for that matter. Of course, we had some of the YouTube greats even back then, like Trainer Tips and Mystic 7 and so on. I knew about them, but besides like actually knowing people, I knew no one. And so one of my goals, besides trying to find my space in that area of content creating, was to also make friends in Pokemon Go and in the content creator space. So it's like networking. Networking is a big thing for me when it comes to what I do with content creating. You can kind of say that you can do better with the more people that you know. You're able to collaborate with other people and kind of mix up your content so that it provides something a little more stimulating, a little more interesting. It's a little bit of a break from the norm when it comes to delivering the content to the people. So so the two goals I had in mind were finding my place and making friends or networking within the space actually really I just mainly wanted friendship. I mean, I'm not someone who is like super outgoing. Actually, I would really regard myself as like an introvert more than extrovert. So I tend to more or less keep to myself, and that's something I'm really struggling with, really battling with on a day-to-day basis. So I have to really force myself outside my own shell to be able to do that, to be able to reach out to others or to just meet people, whether it's through rating them on Twitch or just maybe following someone on Twitter and then maybe a few replies back here and there to tweets. And next thing you know, we're starting a conversation, getting to know each other in the creative space. And that's really all it is. It's sometimes it's the little things that you can do to really create a relationship with another creator, another person online. And you never know, a little bit can really go a long way. There's lots of people that I've rated on Twitch. And actually, to touch on this really quickly, a lot of times what I'd like to do on Twitch, I'd like to every other stream really find someone new, someone who may not have a big following, and go and try to help them grow a little bit on the platform. And I've met some people and have become friends with people that way, and I get to see how they're doing now and how their growth has been. And so I know for me, I would have liked that back when I was younger or earlier in my career. So I like to be there for people when it comes to creating relationships and networking.
That's awesome, and I'll definitely touch on that in a second. But have those goals changed in the last 2 years? Like, is that seems like a pretty consistent goal that's kind of evergreen? Finding your place and networking, like those two things. I think from a creator's perspective are probably never-ending stories. You know what I mean? Like that's something that you're always kind of doing, trying to find out where you belong and how to perform in that specific space, and also how to bridge your network and get it out there. I think that's really interesting. And, we actually met in December, last year, December, at Community Day at the Samsung 837 space in New York City. I went out to New York. I met up with Omnisec and Pandaman and, that whole crew. And, it's so funny because I had asked you for some photos to send over for the thumbnail, and you sent some pictures, and you're like, yeah, Pandaman took this photo. I go, I know, dude, I was standing right fucking next to you. I was like, but that kind of ties into the whole networking thing, right? Like, that event in itself, it was cool to be around that crew, not only because, people were out of control and it was just, we were out of our minds just having fun.
Oh, yeah.
But everyone was in that networking mode. And I love that about this community, especially the video production side of the community, whether it's at GoFest, at the Sylph Party, or, wherever, it's just like everyone's always in this network mode. And I get so charged up about that. Like I really have a passion for that kind of interaction with creative people. So that's that's the energy that I want to be surrounded with at all times. And it was in December, it was just like that because, there was just so many creative people all in one spot that it was a blast. And, I definitely see that at 100%. Now you do cover a bunch of different stuff. Like you said, you started with Pokemon Go, but you also play the main series games, and you're dabbling into TCG and collecting and all that stuff. I love that the Pokemon franchise is big enough to allow creators to almost have the name of being a variety creator, but still staying within the Pokemon franchise. Like the franchise is so diverse and the content can be so diverse. I see you have streams up with the main series. I see you have streams with, TCG unboxings, and you got Go in the corner or a Go stream, and you're talking about the TCG. It's like you have all this crossover. I have to ask, is it challenging to kind of keep up with all three of those pillars, the Pokemon Go, TCG, and the VGC? Like, there's so much going on within each of those games. Is it wild to try to kind of keep up with all three of those data streams? Like, there's so much going on, right?
Oh, it's absolutely a challenge, 100%. I turn around every other second and there's a new TCG subset dropping every other month, and it's kind of wild. It's like, I don't know. I guess they have their own kind of plan with how they do it, but as a consumer of these things, it's like, oh man, how on earth am I going to be keeping up with this? And I guess kind of a rule of thumb with me, at least specifically with TCG, I'll get to the others in a moment, but a TCG is like, okay, I'm definitely going to buy in on this set, but I only can go so far because, as we all know, TCG can be a little bit of a money pit when it comes to the collector side of things.
No,
it's there's so much. It's crazy. I have friends who are just opening up booster boxes and whatnot all the time. Like, I don't know how you're doing that. More power to you if you're able to keep maintaining that. But for me, one thing I definitely like to try to do, and I know a lot of my followers are more on the budget side of things. Not everyone's able to get into things monetarily. I also introduce some budget things as well, like getting booster packs, mini booster packs from like dollar stores, for example. You could get some awesome stuff from those things, and you're only spending $1. Of course, you might have to get a bunch of them, but it's still less of an investment than it would be going after a booster box trying to get a good pull. But going into the other platforms as well, keeping up with Pokemon Go and keeping up with the main series games. The main series is a little bit slower, but it does have updates every now and then. But Pokemon Go, they've been like firing one update off after another.
Yeah,
that's a hard one.
Insane.
It's a hard one to keep up with content creating wise. I've been considering even making more space in my streaming schedule to try and devote more time into the edited content side of things on YouTube. Trying to keep up with everything going on there, maybe trying to get about 2 videos out a week, because I'm doing a lot on my end as far as content creating is concerned. I have to just try and find a space for things as far as time is concerned. I have a pretty good schedule down for streaming, so I just have to kind of tighten it up for editing Pokemon Go videos, and even still trying to upload card opening videos as well. There's videos I have on the back burner that have been shot already. Just got to edit them and get them up. But I do struggle. I will freely admit this, and I'm sure other content creators would as well, keeping up with the different things going on in different parts of the Pokemon franchise. It's a lot to keep up with, and oftentimes it can involve a little bit of money, as some may have learned from one of my latest videos with how much I may have spent in Pokemon Go lately during the Ultra Bonus Unlocks, and it was a little bit too much.
We don't speak of that. We don't
money. What money? No, that's not a problem at all. Unlimited. Excuse me. What?
Dude, we did something like that, and I think it was a couple months ago in our community. We went back and looked at our transaction histories for the calendar year of all of our like App Store purchases for the game. Like, and we had a contest, like everybody adding up their shit, like, and it was, it's astronomical. I mean, I drop a cool $20 a week, like for sure, for the past, 2 years, 3 years, so it's like, it is what it is. It brings me joy. But, and it's funny that you say dollar store packs, because I have a friend, her name is Heather. She goes by Wendy's Queen online, and she's a fan of your content. She actually messaged me on Discord. She's like, "Look what I found at the dollar store." And she sent a whole bunch of packs, and she was all fired up. And then we started talking about you, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, we're having Joe Landor on." She's like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be fucking awesome." So shout out to Heather. Thanks so much for checking out our content.
Thank you, Heather.
Appreciate you. So Pokemon Go it's kind of become the center point of many Pokemon trainers, kind of like Venn diagram. You have, your VGC player, you have your TCG player, and you have your hardcore Pokemon Go player. But what it seems like now is that the TCG community, the TCG proper, those players also play Pokemon Go. And then you have the VGC community, but those players also play Pokemon Go. So Pokemon Go has kind of become this center point for the other areas of the franchise. And we're starting to see that more and more in streamed content, where you could be streaming some Sword and Shield, but you also have Pokemon Go streaming at the same time. How difficult is that to kind of manage two games at once? Because that seems to be a very popular strategy right now with a lot of streamers, and I'm seeing that in your content as well. So is it hard having two games up at once?
It can be. I would say it's harder probably when we have like a hosted raid going on now, which is obviously more of a popular thing than it was before. Thanks to remote raid passes. Thank you, Niantic, for that. It is a little bit harder to manage with that, especially when people are like throwing their friend codes out there. Can you add me as a friend? And do you have space on your friends list? It's like, all right, everyone, settle down. Let me just clear out a bunch of space. We're going to get everyone in there. Here's a command with my current friend code in there. Just add it. We'll get a queue going. And that's how we normally do. I usually manage things with the queue system to get people into raids. And it works out pretty well. But having both games up at the same time, for the most part, obviously, like I just mentioned with remote raids, that can be challenging. Other than that, it's usually pretty easily managed on stream. As long as nothing crazy is going on with a technical difficulty, sometimes my phone display may freeze up, and that's what that is. I'll just fix that. But it's usually pretty good. It provides other content in case something else happens apart from what's happening mainly on screen. Like I normally have Sword and Shield up and I'm shiny hunting something, and then I might get a random shiny off of instance, or maybe from the occasional legendary raid or whatever may happen. And it's really cool to provide like that entertainment value right there. Like, hey, I just got something cool, guys. Look at what happened. And then other people end up coming in here too. Like, hey, I just got something off of a raid you just hosted. Thank you so much for that. And it's a really cool aspect to have two games going on at one time. Actually, sometimes it's even three, regarding I have like an overlay at the bottom with like little stream avatars of people as Pokemon. And sometimes they trigger things like Battle Royale, where they duke it out until the end. We'll see who ends up winning that match.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's like different dynamics that people can kind of mess around with and just have a good time. And they can feel like they're a part of the action too, because they see that I play Pokemon Go, and hey, if they play Pokemon Go, there's something in common right there. And of course, people are at home with shiny hunting, whether Masuda methoding or wild hunting or what have you. They're out there doing the same thing, and then they let me know, like, hey man, I just got such and such from a Masuda method hunt, or I just randomly encountered this Pokemon in the wild. And it's a great thing. I love celebrating with people when it comes to that. So having both games on the screen, it's just another unifying effort with maintaining a connection between myself and the viewers.
I mean, it's got to be kind of like the polar opposite thing here, but creating Pokemon Go content when it's the primary focus, kind of like in the vlog perspective, versus Pokemon Go when it's the secondary focus, where you're just kind of having the game running and you're actually playing Sword and Shield, but you have Go on an incense or something like that cooking on the side. It's got to be a completely different dynamic, right? When you're producing content with both of those perspectives as the primary or the secondary focus.
Oh, absolutely. When you're out there with your camera and your phone running around doing whatever is relevant at that time, your phone in your hand is definitely the primary focus. And of course, getting whatever sweet footage you can of whatever action's going on. That is definitely the primary focus when you're out recording. Definitely at home, though. It's like it's on the table. It's almost like it's to the side, but I'm still keeping an eye on it, because every 30 seconds or whatever, something's going to pop off an incense. And I have to just keep an eye on it, but I'm mainly focused between either the game on the screen or the chat on the side, because really what's really important is those two things right there. Even though Pokemon Go is still there, that's like a side thing, at least for me. But one main thing I definitely am mindful of is definitely keep that engagement going with the viewers, no matter what's happening on either screen.
Yeah, I'm always amazed by the skill set of streamers to not only be able to manage one main game, but two games, plus manage the chat, plus manage their vocality, their actual, their speaking pace, it kind of reminds me of, like a musician playing the piano and singing at the same time and kind of leading a band, where you have all these different dynamics that are happening simultaneously that can't stop. They all need to feed each other. So you're playing Sword and Shield, that must continue. You have the chat that's running, you must engage with it. You have a microphone in front of you, you have to talk, and all of this is happening at the same time. And I'm always amazed at that, how acute that skill set is, and how some people pull it off. I fucking love that, because that's just such a unique dynamic and skill set that you really don't see even in other forms of entertainment. Video game streaming or streaming at large has such a very awesome dynamic to what it takes to pull it off correctly. So when I see people doing 2 games and all this shit, and they're just nonstop talking and they're nonstop interacting with the chat, it's like, dude, that's freaking wild. I'm always so amazed by that. But let's talk about you as a trainer. What's your favorite way to play Pokemon Go? Off camera and on camera. How do you like to engage with the game?
On camera, I'm usually paying pretty close attention to the game in case something random may pop up on the screen, or just checking whatever may be around me immediately. But I also want to make sure I'm giving the camera enough attention as well, because, eye contact, whether you're with the person in front of you or whether it's a camera between you and someone watching at home on YouTube, eye contact I still feel is pretty important, that you're engaging with the viewer on that level as well, so that they feel like they're a part of the content and whatever is going on at that very moment. Of course, I won't be able to look at them all the time, because I may be engaging with people around me as well, because the people at home matter a lot, but also the people around me matter a lot as well. Sometimes I'm not just playing out and about by myself or even with my wife. I have other friends with me who are playing the game. I have to make sure I'm engaging with them too and being sociable, because, well, if I'm going to be a content creator, I have to make sure I engage with people on and off camera. That leads to the off-camera aspect of how I play the game. If I'm not on the camera, I'm a little bit more casual with how I play the game, unless there's like something maybe more time sensitive going on, with like if it's a community day or maybe even Go Fest, then you'll find me a little bit more glued to my phone than normal. But I'm definitely making sure I'm interacting with people and as well as the game. When it's like a timed event, if I'm on a mission, if I'm going like hardcore mode, I will be out and about, moving as fast as I need to. My wife will be complaining that I'm moving too fast sometimes. Like, well, I think you need to be moving a little faster to keep up with me, because we got to keep moving. We have to check out these spawns while time is on our side, because it's a limited amount of time that we have with this event. We got to check everything off, and I know that was my case when it came to GoFest 2019, run around the park in Chicago just trying to get these tasks done and then get whatever shinies I possibly can before the clock strikes whatever the hour the event ends, and everything's gone, and that's it. Everything becomes a memory. So I try to get out there and be with people, and also to make sure I am paying a decent amount of attention to the game to get the most I can out of it.
And I know that a lot of trainers, especially with some of these like limited events, 3 hour, 6 hour, even all day events, even if it's on one day, but there's a fear of missing out from missing something in the game, not getting the shiny, not experiencing the special research, whatever it may be. As a creator, do you ever feel that similar burn where it's like you feel that if you're playing the game, you should be creating content? Like I find myself falling into this sometimes, where I get this kind of like content paralysis, where it's like I'll buy, an Elite Trainer box of I've got 3 fucking Elite Trainer boxes of Darkness Ablaze sitting in my room, and it's like I haven't opened them yet because I'm telling myself I gotta make content, and it's like, but I just end up not making content, and I got fucking 3 brand new Elite Trainer boxes sitting there. It's like, do you ever feel that with Pokemon Go? Like if you're out playing, you should be creating. Is it hard to separate?
Oh, absolutely, it can be. I know a lot of time I do feel pressure to make something out of it, but there are times where there may have been like an event where I wasn't maybe as into it, and I said, you know what? Maybe I'll just stream this and won't make a video out of it, or maybe I won't do either, and I'll just enjoy it at my own pace. But I think a lot of the time, I think it comes down to me just making a video on it, at least as more lately than it was before, earlier in the year when we were a little more locked down than we are now. I know a lot of things I was really streaming. I was just gung-ho at streaming. I was like, you know what? I can't go out, but Niantic has made things a little bit easier to play at home. So guess what? I'm going to play it at home, and I'm going to try and share it with other people who also may be in a similar situation as I am, or maybe they're a little more freer. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, I'm going to just put the title of the stream in. I'm going to plug my phone in so it can be captured. We're going to play the thing. We're going to do it, and we'll see whatever happens. And that's how it's happened with Community Day, time and time again during these past few months. And I've just been having a great time with the community, just hearing about their spoils that they've gotten from community days or whatever the other events may be. And I love being able to celebrate with them. I know I've said that before, but just hearing about the cool stuff that they have gotten, and maybe getting a little bit jealous because maybe they got something that I've always wanted. And it's like,
dude, it's all about flexing,
dude.
That's like in the Lured Up Discord, we have a show off channel, and it's like that day after day, that's probably the most active channel out of. We've got fucking 100 channels in the Discord. That one's always popping off because people are always just posting their crazy catches or whatever hundo they got or whatever shiny they got, and it's like I love that. I love that about the nature of this franchise, where it's just like, look what I got kind of feeling. That's always super cool. And bouncing off of what you said about, all right, maybe I'll shoot a video or maybe I'll stream, the differences in audiences between platforms. And I've the past couple of creators I've had in the show were mainly YouTubers that kind of migrated to Twitch. And in doing so, they had to learn how to not only interact with a live audience, but also shift their persona a bit to move away from what you need to do to act during a produced bit of content versus live stream content. Do you see kind of similar behaviors in the audiences of those platforms? Or is it like YouTube is its own thing and Twitch is its own thing? Because, you're on both platforms. How does that balance work with managing those audiences? Is it similar?
So yeah, there's a difference between audiences, probably more differences than similarities. Between the two audiences, we have to have a on-air persona, if you will, that we have to engage with people with whatever we are normally like in our normal environments. We're not out and about running around with our cameras in the public and then having to deal with people maybe surprised and they're like, hey, I like your content. Thanks for hanging out with me and doing raids or whatever. And then so that's one way to handle yourself in public. You have to have so you have to be always on, when you're out and about with the camera. But when you're at home, man, it's like you come into my domain. If you're coming to my stream, you have to watch me as I am. And even then, that's not like I'm any different than I am outside. I'm pretty chill at home, pretty relaxed, and just love to hang out and have a good time. But you're dealing with people in a live environment than you are in a produced, edited environment. And there's definitely a difference. People feel like they're able to be more relaxed, just like you are for the most part. They'll go ask some questions and probably say some things that they probably shouldn't say, and I have to check them sometimes. All right, hold on there, buddy. You need to calm down there for a minute. I know, love to have a good time here, but you gotta settle down and pay attention to the rules of the channel. So if they come into my domain, they're basically getting ready to experience myself as I am in that environment. And I definitely do feel there is a difference between the two platforms. And that is okay. There's okay for there to be a difference between the two places. I know with other creators I've seen, I watch their videos and I turn around and see their streams. And a lot of people, they don't curse in their videos. The next thing you know, they're cursing like a sailor in their live streams, and people have to learn that that's okay too. You're dealing with them as they are, largely uncensored, and that's okay. It may not be for everyone. If it's not for you, then deal with the YouTube videos. If it is for you, then go have a good time with whoever you're watching, man. Just let it flow. Just deal with it.
Yeah, I get that a lot from the creators that we have on the show, where they say that Twitch as a platform gives them a little bit more lateral freedom to express themselves as they would be, and because they are in their natural environment. So you get these hilarious, sometimes like these knee-jerk reactions when a shiny pops up, or if they lose in Go Battle League or something like that. You get these real organic, raw reactions from people, and it's like, oh man, you would never see that in YouTube. You know what I mean? It's like, I love being able to get those natural kind of spontaneous reactions that only a stream would allow, where it's not like a bit of produced content where you're like, it just, everything is kind of staged. That's what I love about streaming so much. But so now we're talking about two different platforms. So you've got YouTube, you've got Twitch, you're on social media. I mean, you're on Instagram, you're on Twitter. How challenging is it to find a balance of content with there being, let's just call it three different games, TCG, main series, VG, and Pokemon Go, and then you have two platforms. So you have a lot of variables. Do I do Pokemon Go on stream? Do I do Pokemon Go on YouTube? Do I do TCG here? Do I do TCG there? How difficult is it to balance that? And are there any platforms where you kind of see a little bit more crossover? Like I'd imagine that the Sword and Shield community does well with Go on Twitch, right? Like that's something that where you see like a heavy crossover between the two formats.
Oh, there's huge crossover there for sure. Typically, everyone I run into that plays the main series games, they play Pokemon as well. And surprisingly enough, there's some people that may not play one or the other, but they also are into the TCG series along with maybe one of those platforms. It's like it's like I kind of liken it to maybe Lego a little bit. Like you can take whatever is on the box and make it, but you can also make other things too. And so with Pokemon, you can just kind of build your interest as you like it between what you want to participate in. But there's definitely heavy crossover between the two. But managing what I do on what platform and the like, it is a huge task. It's a huge undertaking. I'm someone who isn't good at planning, or at least I'm decent at planning, but it's like what to plan and when to plan it. That could be a little bit, so more of the minute details, that could be a little bit more of a hassle for me. So I'm always trying to figure out, okay, I need to figure out some sort of a content plan. I need to make sure I try and do something on this day, something on this day, something on this day. So something needs to be, at least one thing needs to be posted every day on as many platforms as I can plan for, and try to cross post as best as I can so I can make the content stretch as far as I can. And a lot of times that ends up being like a shiny reaction or something like that I'll put on Twitter. I'll put it on Instagram, both in the main timeline and Instagram stories. I'll edit it differently if I have to get it to fit what aspect ratio that it needs to fit in. Same for TikTok. It's like so I'm always thinking about how to display something, how to make it pop, at least to the best of my ability, and what hashtags to go with it. For any other creators that may be out there, guys, you're not alone with trying to figure all this out. I don't know anyone that has it down packed. I really, truly do not. And this is why some people may stick with certain platforms. They'll maybe stick with Twitter instead of bothering with Instagram, and not even think about TikTok or wherever the case may be. But I would implore anyone out there, if you're thinking about doing this or if you're actively doing this, try it on whatever platforms you feel comfortable with and throw something up and see if it sticks. If it doesn't stick, try it differently. If that doesn't stick, maybe switch from that to something else and just keep trying. Don't give up on putting your content out there, no matter what platform it's on. Sometimes it'll take many, many fails before you get something that may work. And then when something works, and it may not work again the second time, you have to kind of tweak it to fine tune even further than that until you get to where you want to be. It's a constant struggle. It really is. And I know what it's like. I do.
Yeah, I think you can call it like A/B testing. I think A/B testing in a content world is crucial when it comes down to the management of multiple games and multiple platforms, because it's one thing if you say, hey, I'm going to be a Twitch streamer and I'm going to stream Pokemon Go, because then you know that really all you need to do is fill out your schedule. Say, okay, I'm going to stream on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and all I do is Pokemon Go. You're done. But when you have different options of games, and then you have the ability to put more than one game into a stream, and then you have more than one platform, it's like, I can imagine that it takes a significant amount of trial and error, like you're saying, and testing to figure out what works well, where and when and how. Like there's got to be so much to it. That's why I'm always so intrigued by this Pokemon variety streaming. And I do the same thing here on the network. We've got podcast about Pokemon Go. We've got one about the anime. We've got one about the TCG. We do some crazy shit on Instagram, and it's like all these different things all living together, but it takes so much trial and error to figure out what does well where and how to parse it out. So I'm always interested with that because, it's especially from a streaming perspective, because I understand how demanding the consistency requirement of streaming is. And, it's very similar with podcasting. It's like you just have to consistently put out content. And with streams, because people are using it like a destination, it's more like, okay, I'm not going to watch a piece of VOD content that I can watch at my leisure. I can watch it at any time. I know that, all right, at 9 p.m., this person's going to be live. I have to be there. So putting those puzzle pieces together is such a cool dynamic. Especially within the Pokemon variety streaming space. So I'm always interested to hear about that. But let's talk about the brand itself. And obviously you said Joe Landor, but be maybe known as LandorAlpha. Tell us about the Alpha Squad. What is this all about, and how did that kind of start, and what's your strategy behind that branding?
Okay, so this goes back a little bit, probably back to, if you remember these days, I'm sure you do, Ken. But remember the old AOL CD days where you have to create a new screen name every 30 days so that you don't lose your internet?
Yeah,
oh,
dude.
yeah. So that goes back to when I used to be pretty creative with screen names back then. Back then, I was dealing with Joe Spy. I don't know why I put Spy at the end of my name, but that's what I did, and then it incremented by 1 each time. So Joe Spy 1, 2, 3, 4, until it got to the double digits and got a little crazy. So I was always coming up with unique nicknames for whatever I do. Even up until probably early mid-2000s, where I used to go with a handle Landor Industries, which basically, and if I was doing like a lot of designing, web design work back then, like when I was getting into school to formally learn about that throughout my college years. And then I moved on to LandorAlpha. Now, how I got to LandorAlpha, it's kind of a mystery even of its own to myself, because I'm trying to remember how I got there. I don't know, how did that happen? I think what happened was I was trying to find something to put with some part of my name that would stand out, that would be a little different with my branding, and I guess it just stuck. It's something that I actually didn't hate, and I ended up using and kept on with it. I know a lot of other people may use Alpha in one way or another, but I want to kind of come up with branding that would make it unique to myself, and this is why we have the current logo that I have it with. I know you posted on Twitter about this podcast being recorded using an image with that logo in it, and I wanted to create branding that was kind of in touch with something I really love, and that's like the synthwave, vaporwave aesthetic from like the 80s, and that's just something that just sticks with me no matter what. I have lighting in my room right now, not that you can see it, but I have lighting in here right now that reflects that aesthetic because it's like a part of me. So I want to take a part of what I like and my branding and kind of fuse it together, hence why I have what I have now. And then of course those who follow me on my platforms end up becoming part of what is known as the Alpha Squad. And so what the Alpha Squad is, it's people that follow me, but I try to give more of a meaning, more of a definition to what the Alpha Squad is. And it's like a place where you can dwell, you can be a part of a community that no one cares about what you've done, like in the past. No one cares about like your background. No one's I shouldn't say no one cares. No one's concerned about that. We just want you to be yourself here. We want you to feel comfortable, to feel safe, to be a part of the community, to interact, a safe place so that you can be yourself and just be, I don't want people who come into the Discord or the Twitch chat or what have you to be concerned about what people think of them. I know a lot of people already have to deal with that enough in real life, and I've dealt with that too in my past. So this is even speaking to me that I don't want anyone to have to be weighed down, to be bothered with that. Just come as you are and just be. No one's concerned about anything you may have done in your past or anything like that. That's not what we're here for. We're here for you, to be with you, and to just have a great time. So just come and be. And that's really what it is to be in the Alpha Squad, and to just have a good time. I mean, a lot of people here love Pokemon. Obviously, who doesn't? That's kind of essentially what holds all this together, so to speak. But there's also other things we like to do too, and it's okay to like other things, to be more interested in one thing than the other, and it's totally fine. It's a part of you being you. So feel free to have your interests and talk about whatever you want. We'll talk about it. We may not see eye to eye on some things, and that's just what it is. I'm totally about people not agreeing, but to be able to have a civil discourse about it. And at the end of the day, we'll just walk away with our own opinions, but with the satisfaction of having had a great conversation about whatever the topic is, you know?
No, that's awesome. And I think that when it comes to building a brand, you know, as a creator, that the community aspect is exceptionally, you know, important to the viability of your brand. Without having a community culture or a community vibe, it's very hard. Just like you said, like the creator itself has a persona. The community also has to have something about it. So, I mean, you know, anyone can put a name on a community, but when you have a detailed kind of, you know, description of what the vibe and the culture of that community is, I think that really welcomes people in to say, like, look, this is what we're all about. This is who we welcome, and this is the type of things that are going to go on here. So that being said, the Alpha Squad, someone comes to you, they want to check out your content, and they click on one of your videos or one of your streams for the first time. What can the viewer expect when they check out, you know, whether it's one of your Pokemon Go vlogs or say a stream where you're playing some Sword and Shield and, you know, doing a shiny hunt? Is there any sentiment or any vibe that is important for you to get across in your content that you would want that first time viewer to be able to embrace when they check you out?
Well, one, they should expect a crazy guy run around looking for shinies. But other than that,
the shiny hunt is real.
Exactly, it really is, and everyone's all about that, I'm sure. But the vibe that they're coming to expect, what you should come to expect when it comes to my content is creativity. I try many different ways to try to make my videos unique, and oftentimes the videos that you end up watching of mine, they may not be alike at all. There may be one vibe during one video. I may switch it up during another video. That's me trying to keep it interesting, but also trying to find something that works. And I know some other creators who may have like a template kind of setup, so to speak, with they have their way that they do it each and every time, and that's how it is all the time. And that's okay. That works for them. That doesn't necessarily work for me with what I do. I try to keep things unique, keep things interesting to the viewers, so that they could expect something visually appealing, at least to the best of my creative ability, with whatever skills I may have with my editing software or what have you. I try to deliver something interesting each and every time. So expect creativity, expect some sort of ingenuity put behind it. Still expect me being crazy looking for shinies, because that's not going to change no matter what I do with my videos. That's just always going to be a staple. So just expect that, and expect to have a good time, because I'm doing it for you guys. And a lot of people, they're doing their content for you guys. So definitely keep that in mind. No matter who you're watching, whether it's me or anyone else, they're doing it for you, and they're trying to keep it unique and creative for you. So definitely, whenever you guys have feedback from me, or anyone else for that matter, just be honest, be open with how you feel. If there's something that you feel is missing, shout it out. If there's something that you think shouldn't be there for whatever reason, feel free to voice your opinion, but also feel free to know that the creator may not agree with you and may not listen to you at all.
Be constructive.
It's right, yeah.
Good luck, Twitter.
Exactly. Sorry, Twitter. You guys can say whatever you want, but guess what? They're still going to do whatever they want anyway. Sorry. Well, this is how it is.
It's interesting that you kind of went through that whole thing of talking about, you know, being unique and the ingenuity and all that, because that kind of flows right into the next thing I wanted to talk about, with there being this, you know, Twitch is kind of going through this boom right now because of a lot of different things, especially with the timing of Pokemon Go, you know, having all these different things going on in the game, megas and PvP and all this stuff that's kind of shifted since the pandemic has hit, has really put a lot of power into the player from home. So that's allowed for more people to create content in the streaming world. And I kind of have this question here lined up that was saying, like, you know, keeping things unique and fun is super important during that process, and that you kind of sometimes go outside of the box with themed events with your streams. And I mean, even like when you talk about some of the Animal Crossing stuff you did like a fashion show, right?
Ah, yes,
Like
that did
Dude,
happen.
That was so freaking cool, man. I was like, this is so creative. And I remember people like getting so excited for that, like as if it was like a real fucking fashion show. Like people were like, I'm ready. I got, like I can't wait to go. Like it was so cool. And I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about here, right? Like those kind of outside of the box philosophies of how to approach creating content and kind of making content out of the content. You kind of have this meta action going on. I think that Animal Crossing example is the perfect way to talk about that, because you were doing something within the game similar to how like Trainer Tips Nick will do like a DJ set or something like that in Animal Crossing. But using it's almost like machinima, because you're kind of using that platform for something that it may not have been originally intended for. And I love that. And I think that ingenuity is exceptionally important to acquiring an audience and then retaining them, because they're going to need that kind of, that desire and that want to be able to engage and experience things that are going to be unique. It's like there's so much content out there. You kind of need to do cool shit like that to hold your audience, which I think is really cool. So I dig that stuff you do, man. I appreciate the ingenuity. I think that's a perfect word to associate with what you can expect on your content. That's good shit, man.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. It's hard work. There's times where I'm just sitting here struggling. Like I need to do something. I'm trying to figure out what it is. What can it be? What is something that I can do, or if I need help, what can I do to make it possible? Now I'll tell you about that fashion show. That was not just me. There was other people that I had to talk with, to collaborate with, that I needed help trying to put that whole thing together. For example, Lady Brittany, she was huge in helping to kind of create like a queue system to try and manage the people that want to be a part of the fashion show, because it kind of went a little more gangbusters than I expected it to be. And it's like, oh, okay, people really want to do this thing. Okay, that's cool. Let's try to get as many people in here as we can. We did, I forget how many rounds of the fashion show, so that everyone that wanted to could be a part of it. And that it was like a phenomenal time that we had, and something I intend to do again, probably coming this fall. So if you guys love Animal Crossing, keep it locked. Well, we're gonna make something happen. Maybe another fashion show, maybe something else. Stay tuned.
Nice. That's awesome. And I mean, 2020 in general has been just a bananas year, and it's kind of thrown everyone's creative, trajectories off a bit. But that notwithstanding, any goals for the remainder of 2020? Like anything you're looking to accomplish this year?
Okay, so goals. It's gonna be a hard one. I'm kind of starting to stare at least as far as Twitch is concerned, starting to stare at 3,000 followers. We're at 2,300 right now. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be smashing 3,000 this year, but I think I would like to try push it to see if I can hit 5K by the end of the year. I don't know what's going to happen between now and then to make it happen, but I'd like to aim high and at least hit half of my goals, and to aim low and hit all of them. So I kind of try to push for reaching for the stars and not knowing exactly what's going to be there to help me get to that point, but what matters though is like the journey to get there. That's really the exciting thing. As far as YouTube goes, I'm sitting at over 2,000 subs right now. I would like to hit 3K. I don't know if that's going to happen before the end of the year, but I'm trying to get myself back into the algorithm swing of things. I used to be in there when it came to live streaming on YouTube, but as some may know, there's a difference between creating content, edited content for YouTube, and there's a difference between hitting go live on YouTube. It's a lot easier to get an algorithm with the one than the other, so I have to just keep grinding away at the edited content to get back in there, and we'll see where things go from there. I'm really excited about the unknown, not knowing exactly how something's going to work, but I like being able to sit down and try to really think out the process with how it's going to be, and experimenting like I talked about earlier with content on different platforms and just seeing what may work. And if it doesn't work, well, that's just too bad. We'll maybe tweak it one way or another, try it again, or maybe shift over or pivot. I like the word pivot to something else, and see what may work. So I think those are my primary goals. I'm actually pretty close to 1,000 followers on Twitter. That would be cool. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to hit that before the end of the year. That's really more of a short-term goal than a long-term goal. But I'm really looking forward to growing my Twitter audience as well. That's where I I guess you could say I like to express things every now and then, depending on how I feel. I'm pretty conservative on Twitter when it comes to what I like to tweet about my thoughts or things like that. Because, well, I'm kind of conservative in nature with how I think and how I talk and feel. I don't just go saying whatever's on my mind. I like to really think about what I say before I say it, one, to keep myself out of trouble.
That sounds like such an amazing philosophy for Twitter. I wish more people had that same frame of mind rather than just like having like, tweet diarrhea, just letting it out.
Yeah, some people are just a little too loose with the keyboard,
I love it, dude. I love stirring the pot. Like, it's like, look, I know it's going to, sometimes you got to step in the shit to make it stink. You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's like I have so much fun with it. I put up a tweet today. I was like, the mega raid community, it's so damn hard to get, mega energy, and then also the mega raid community. God damn it, I'm capped at 999 mega energy. It's like, it's the only community that could be mad at both directions at the same time, like by the same person. Yep. I fucking love Twitter so much, man. It's such a good time.
Twitter is a fascinating platform. Probably apart from anything else I use, Twitter is that one place. It's like living in a neighborhood. It's like you're on a block. You have your house that you walk outside of every day. You look at what's going on around the street, aka your timeline, your news feed. You're seeing what this person's talking about, what that person's. Oh, there's the crazy guy in the corner again talking about 5G and what it's going to do to your brain.
My drunk uncle just showed up.
So it has like a real neighborhood kind of aesthetic to it, just seeing what people you follow, your neighbors, are just talking about. Some stuff you can get with, and other stuff's like, I don't know who lets you on this platform, but you need to see yourself off of it. I don't know.
That's great. Well, Joe, dude, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it. It was great to get to know you and to learn about your content. I really do appreciate you coming on. Why don't you, of course, links in the description will be to everywhere that you can find everywhere that Joe is. So I'll definitely put all those links there, but why don't you let our community know where they can find you and where you're at?
All right. So you can find me oftentimes Twitch, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Twitch.tv/LandorAlpha. YouTube, youtube.com/LandorAlpha. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You'll find me there at LandorAlpha. I'm LandorAlpha like just about everywhere. So if you're looking for me somewhere, search LandorAlpha. It's a good chance you'll find me. And I like to share different things on those different platforms. Some things may be the same across. Some things may be unique to the platform. But you just got to follow me everywhere to find out exactly when we'll be posting next. And we would love to have you in our community, the Alpha Squad. We have a wonderful Discord. We host remote raids and lots of stuff going on in there too. You can find links on my platforms to that Discord as well. But we definitely would love to see you on the live stream, so make sure if you have time in your schedule on the days I just mentioned, just stop by and come hang out. Would love to talk and digitally meet you guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, everyone. This has been an episode of the Lured Up Creator Series. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Please check out luredup.com for everything that we have going on with the show, PokemonProfessor.com for everything that's going on with the network. Joe, thank you once again. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Ken, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, everyone. Keep training, trainers. We'll see you next week.